What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. And today we have a GMC Sierra. It is the classic model, and what we're going to be doing is pulling the transmission out, and we got to rebuild it. This will be just like a removal video on this one, and then I may even do a teardown of the transmission to show y'all exactly what went wrong on it and all that stuff. And if you've never seen how a transmission is tore apart, we'll try to go through that as well. And then I don't know if I'll do an installation video, but we may do one, we'll see. But first thing I want to do is I want to show you where all the connectors are. Got one right here, should be your speed sensor, speedometer. Then you're gonna have some, like, all your wires are gonna be held together up here with this little bracket, and it does have your fuel lines attached to it as well. And I think you got your O2 sensor. Here is your vent for your transmission right here. I ain't got a screwdriver on me, or I would have taken it out the right way, but you can just get these clips. They're dirty right now. And you put a screwdriver in here and they'll pop open. And then, trying to show y'all. You have this main connector right here. Sometimes there's a safety tab on there, but this one is already taken off. Looks like all of them's taken off already. So this one, I know it's kind of hard to see. Right here, you're gonna have like a little tab. You're gonna pull it down and pull this out all at the same time. And it's kind of like a ECM connector, computer connector. You just pull that down and it should slide out the back. And I cannot remember if there's a connector. I thought there was a connector on this side too. There it is. Yeah, this is that round connector. I can't show it to you because you got this plate on here, but once you remove this plate, should be I think 2 10s or 8s right here. You take this plate off and there's a round connector on there. Once I take this plate off, I will show you how that goes. And then this is going to be a little hard. It's a little hard to see because I'm trying to show you still in the truck. But your cooling lines go in right there too. We'll have to take this exhaust cross pipe off. Each manifold, this does have the 4.3, but it's pretty much the same thing for the 5, 3 and 6 liters and all that stuff. Pretty much goes for any 60-degree Chevy engine. But you're gonna have 3 bolts on this side. They're probably 14s or 15s. You'll have 3 on this side. And I swear this thing's been out before, cause that's not factory. That one is. But you take 3 on each side. You'll have O2 sensors on each side, and then the back right here you'll have 2 on this side. And then we'll pull the drive shaft out and all that good stuff. But what I'm going to do is go ahead and start pulling all these connectors off real quick. I'm going to get this one. I got that one off already. Probably get the speedometer cable out, and I could probably show you how to do that right now. Let me find a little screwdriver. Get y'all in here. This should just pop off. Just like that. Get it out of the way. And then this don't even have the safety clip in it either, which isn't good. Just push it back and pull it down, and there's your, normally there's like a little U-clip up in there. It goes in between the little tabs to keep it from backing out. We'll have to see if we can find one of those. We got enough cars in the junkyard, we can just take one out if we have to. But set that down. But yeah, let me go ahead and start pulling these connectors, and then we'll get to actually doing the hard stuff, because I'm going to take the pan and go ahead and drain the fluid as well. That way there's as little fluid in it as possible whenever I tear this apart. Alright, so where I left off was I said I was going to take off all these connectors. Here is the connector that's behind that plate. Here is the plate right there. Just two 10 millimeters. They're real short. They're not really that tight either. Now on this connector, all you have to do is, it's got these flat spots. Just squeeze them together like this and pull straight up. This one come off super easy. Gives me another indication that this has been changed before or been out before. But normally I fight with those a little bit just because it's hard to get my hands around them in a tight spot, but we got it out really easy. So I went ahead and took the exhaust off. Like I said, two 15s on the back, and there should be 6 15s on the front, where mine had one that had a through bolt and a nut on it on the upper portion of this. To get the driver's side out, passenger side, I don't know why I said driver, you are supposed to take the O2 sensor out, but this O2 sensor is kind of rounded out a good bit and my socket would not grab onto it. Luckily I got a wrench in there and got the nut off that way. If you do have to do that, you can go in through your passenger side fender well and get it up here. But like I said, luckily mine wasn't all that tight and I got it off. I did spray everything down with some Croil beforehand. Got it somewhere, don't know where the can is now. Right beside my head, right here. They're not a sponsor or anything, just to me that's one of the best penetrating oils that I've found that works really good. And I did heat them up a little bit. I just used one of these little matte gas ones right here because I don't have my torch here, but it did, I heated it up and they all come loose pretty easy except for the back ones. The back ones did break and they look like they had been broken before. You can see what I'll do, I just hammer them out and just put some through bolts through it. They're splined in there so you can hammer them out pretty easy. So I'll just hammer out those little studs and we'll do that. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm probably going to put a transmission jack underneath the pan right here so I can take the cross member out one time so I can get the exhaust out of the way, because I'm going to have to lower the transmission down a little bit anyway so I can get to these top bell housing bolts. But we're going to, actually I'm going to take the drive shaft out first. I didn't think about that. Do this pretty easy. Should be 4 11 millimeters back here on the back. Just take them out and it's got like these little caps on the top. Just pull those off, use a pry bar, pull back on it. I'm going to mark the orientation of this compared to the differential. I like to keep them lined up if I can, just to keep down any vibrations. But we'll mark this and the yoke right there so we know where they all come out. But it's just 4 11 millimeters on the back, and it's just slip joint right here. And after we do that, then I may start pulling the cross member out. Oh yeah, one thing I didn't want to let y'all know is you're gonna have to disconnect the battery because you do have to take the starter out. The starter is right here on the passenger side, just 2 13s I believe, and it drops down, and then you go in through where the starter is to take the torque converter bolts off on this one. And while we're in here, we're going to look at the rear main seal and see how it looks, because if it needs one, we'll go ahead and do that as well. So we took the pan off so we could drain the fluid, and this gives me a good indication that something major is broken. Like, not that one. I mean, look at that. I mean, it is thick, and there's a bunch of hard parts right here. Like, hear how hard that is? All that's hard stuff. So something definitely broken here. I'm betting that the sun shell probably broke as well. Yeah. Oh yeah, there's. Oh, look how thick that is. That is crazy. Yeah, You can see how thick all that is right there on that magnet. Yeah, there's a lot of broken pieces in here, I'm betting. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, look at that. I mean, yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna empty this out just so I can get as much out of it as possible, and then I'm gonna put it back on just so we can lower it down and all that good stuff. So here's your Y pipe right here. I got it out. You can see better where they broke. So we'll have to replace that or fix it. It won't be a big deal. And to do this, I put jack stand underneath there. I do have to lower the truck down a little bit to get this transmission jack to work, but I just put the block underneath there. Four 21mm nuts and bolts. Both of them are the same. The nuts and the bolt heads are 21s. Got that out of the way. And once you do that, make sure you take these frame support members that go right here. They're right there on the floor. It's 215s. Make sure you take those out. I forgot to. And it was hitting on this driver's side more than the passenger side, but once I got that out, the whole system, this side fell down like this, and then I just maneuvered it off of this little portion of the frame. Now, what I'm going to do is, while I have it like this, I'm going to go ahead and lower it down some so that we can start taking these upper bell housing bolts off. Because once we get those off, the bottom ones will be a breeze. I like doing the top ones first, leave the bottom ones in. I'll leave from here down on, and then all we got, I think, is 4 upper bell housing bolts that we have to take off. And after we do that, we can take these transmission lines off. With the way this pan look, we're going to have to flush the system with them cooler flush, just because I'm afraid some metal may have gotten in there, and we're going to flush it both ways, frontwards and backwards, just to make sure we get as much out as possible. But we got every sensor off of this thing. All I got to do is pull the lines and the bell housing bolts and torque converter bolts. So let me lower this down, get the upper bell housing bolts off. Like I said, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4 of them, and then we'll leave the bottom 4, I believe there is. Yeah, we'll leave the bottom 4 bolts on, and then we'll start taking torque converter bolts out, and we'll take the starter off. Like I said, starter is right here on the passenger side. I know I showed it to you before, but 2 13mm right here, and you can pull it back and you can actually set it up in here, or you can take it off completely. Whichever one you want is perfectly fine. And then once you do that, there's a cover right here. I think it goes 10mm right there. It's hard to see, but right there. And I think this bottom one also contributes to it, but you do have to pull the starter first. You got the starter out, got it just kind of hanging here. We're using a 16mm, not 15, 16 on the front. I know you really can't see up in here. I don't think I got a flashlight on me. Trying to see if I did or not. No, I did not. There we go. So got a 16mm right there on the crank bolt, and I'm just rotating it right there clockwise, and then up in here, that's where your torque converter bolts are going to be. I had 3 on mine. Yours may be 4, could be 3, depends on what you have. But here's what mine looked like. They were 15s, and I put an extension right here on there. And then right here on this little shelf, I got it, and I just pulled up against that and broke them loose, like really easy. And I think I said that these might have been 13 on bell housing. They were 15s, not 13s. I'm kind of out of it today. But there's a cover that goes right here, 2 10s right there and there. And then you gotta take this one right there out. Set it down somewhere. do not know where I set it down for the life of me, but I did set it down. If I find it, I'll show it to you. But now that I got the torque converter bolts out of it, I'm going to tilt the transmission down a little bit so I can get those top bell housing bolts. And on your lines right here, it is those pain in the butt, I call them Jesus clips. Get up in here, and they make a tool to go around here and you spread them and pull them out. But all I'm going to do, I'm just going to pull the little C-clip out of each one of them and pull lines. It's just easier to me that way than trying to get the tool and everything. But let me pull the lines out, let me pull the top bell housing bolts off, and then once we do that, I'll bring y'all back and let y'all watch me start pulling the transmission out. All the bell housing bolts are out of it now. Everything is down. The cross member, she is ready to pull back. We are going slow so we don't accidentally drop it. I do have it broken apart on the bottom. I just got to free it up on the top. I think it's the dowel pin that's holding it. There we go. Let me check the other side. Ooh, looks like we are broke free. And try to pull it back a little bit more. Just a little. See if I can lower it down just a little bit more too. Move it back some. It's probably the snout of the torque converter that's really holding it up. It was. The torque converter snout was stuck in the crankshaft. I'll rotate it up some. Now I'm going to lower her down. Just go slow at this point. Make sure nothing is catching. That's what it was. Alright. And there we go. Is pretty much out of here at this point. Scoot it back some. I'm just making sure it's going to stay. Alright. So before I lower down and do all this, you can see we do have a rear main seal leak. Not well, y'all can see in there. But I put all the bolts back where they're supposed to go, except for this one, so it'll hold that. And I got one of these out. I forgot to put it back up inside of here before I put the starter on. But got the cross member in. Let me get behind here so y'all can see better, so the light is behind us. But got the, like I said, got the cross member just put in. It's loose. Got all the bolts back in where they're supposed to go. Even on the transmission, I just kind of stuck everything where it's supposed to go, just so we know where it goes. I mean, I remember, but it's just a good practice to do. torque converter bolts. Here's your torque converter, 3 on there. Put these right here back in there. The shield ain't on there, but it just goes on like that. But we do have that on. Put the nut on for the transmission mount. Oh, with this off, you can see this connector a lot better. Like I said, normally you just squeeze it and pull it up. Normally gives you a decent fight, but this one didn't. That's what made me think that this had been out before as well. And you can see we had, like, the rear main seal was leaking inside of here. Plus it looks like somebody's hammered up on that a little bit. Yeah, so it is definitely has been out before. But like I was saying, we're going to pull the torque converter out, look at the front pump seal, which is going to get replaced anyway, and then whenever we tear it apart, we'll kind of find out what's going on with it. But this is pretty much going to complete this video, except for I want to show you all these clips. Come on, don't drop them. Here's those little clips. They go in, and look at the right side of it. I got my strap around them. They go in right here. So, trying to show y'all. But, alright, come on. There we go. So, they go in like that. And whenever you push the line in, these clips hold them. I don't know which way that one's facing. There we go. That one seems a little tighter than the top one. May have to squeeze that one in a little bit to get it to seal right. Here's your dipstick. It is held in on one of the bell housing bolts. I do have it out right here. And I did pull it out without pulling the transmission, and it just goes in right there. So that goes in like that. Trying to tell you anything else while I got it out, kind of show it to y'all. I think that's it. So it's probably going to conclude this video. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, let me know. I'll answer any questions y'all have. I like the criticism too. Most people think that we don't, but we do, because it does help us, you know, find our flaws and help us find out what we did wrong, and we can kind of better that on our next videos and all that stuff. So let me have it, you know, be honest with me, tell me what you thought about it. There's a million different ways you could do this. I mean, you can take whatever you want to off first. This is just normally how I do it, just because it does allow me to be kind of, like, me personally, proficient at doing it, you know, so I'm not having to lift it, lower it, and all that good stuff to try to get stuff off. So I like to do things one time, and then we can just get it out quicker without having to repeat steps. So let me know what y'all thought about everything. If y'all need any torque specs or any of that stuff, hit me up. Wiring diagrams, any of that type of stuff, let me know. I'll gladly help anybody out with anything, not just this, but any kind of car you have. I do have the Patreon, I do have the Instagram, like always, shirts, hats, stickers. If y'all want any of that stuff, let me know. Hopefully by the end of this year I'll have a website up. If I do, I will let y'all know what it is. And y'all remember, torque this tight, and y'all have a great day.